Amongst all the players the Knicks got back in the trade yesterday, Malachi Flynn might be the sneakiest pickup of them all. All that and much more on the Knicks Digest. What's up, guys? It's your boy Dariel from Knicks Digest. Before we get into today's video, I want to remind you guys 83% of you guys are not subscribed to the channel. Stop what you're doing right now. Smash that subscription button in order to be up to date with all Knicks news regarding trades, injuries, whatever you can think of. Smash that subscription button, and the Knicks Digest YouTube channel will cover it all. All right, guys. So, one of the players that the Knicks got back in the Toronto Raptor trade was Malachi Flynn. And if we take a look here into his numbers so far for the season, he's averaging 5.1 points, 2.4 assists, shooting 40% from the field, 35% from 3-point. And just to dive a little bit deeper into the numbers, as far as the field goal percentages, 40%. He's hitting 40% on 4.4 attempts, and 3-point field goal percentage is 35% on 2.6 attempts. Now, seeing how this is a Knicks YouTube channel, I'll be honest, I haven't really been up to date with the Toronto Raptors. So Malachi Flynn, I don't really know a lot about his game, but someone that does know a lot about his game, shout out our guy, Ben, from Raptors Digest. Ben shared some scouting notes on Malachi Flynn with Chris and this is what Ben had to say. Malachi has shown flashes of being a really good facilitator, but defensively, he's challenged. Nick Nurse never played him at all, and there were stretches where he would look like he's about to break out, but then unfortunately he'd get benched or he'd get hurt. Now, just on those scouting reports from Ben alone, it's not the best thing to go off of. But one thing that stuck out to me was when Ben was talking about Nick Nurse. So Nick Nurse last season was the coach of the Toronto Raptors. Now he's with Philly. And I feel like the reputation Nick Nurse has is that he's very hard on his players, but he is fair to his players. And I remember watching one of the ESPN games during halftime. I think Cassidy Hubbard, Kendrick Perkins, they were talking about the Toronto Raptors, and they were talking about how Nick Nurse, he loves to ride his guys, where he's gonna play those guys the most amount of minutes, and he does rely on his bench, but the people that he trusts most are the starting five. And with different players, you might need different sceneries. One of the big things that everybody talks about, especially around draft time, is if a particular player can get in a good situation. Different situations are for different players, and maybe Malachi Flynn, maybe that's what his situation was, that he wasn't in the best situation with the Toronto Raptors. Now coming to the Knicks, you never know, he might blossom. Just take a look for Kobe White. Kobe White might be a little different because Zach LaVine, he went out with an injury, so now Kobe White is playing out of his mind. And I'm not saying that's going to happen with Malachi Flynn here on the Knicks, but just being under a different type of coach, Coach Tibbs, he may have his moment where he'll just shine. One thing that players should know coming to the Knicks, playing for Coach Tibbs, is the way to get his attention, the way to get on the floor is if you're going to be a defensive player. That's what a lot of players said when they played under Coach Tibbs. I remember Jimmy Butler said that after he became an all-star. He said when he was a rookie with the Bulls, he realized that they had offensive weapons with Derrick Rose, Hakeem Noah, Carlos Boozer, and the only way that he was going to get onto the floor was that if he paid attention to the defensive end. And for the first few seasons of Jimmy Butler's career, he was known as a defensive player, which led to Coach Tibbs trusting him and keeping him and playing him on the floor. So maybe Malachi Flynn, maybe that's something he'll pick up with the Knicks. The few amount of times that I did see Malachi Flynn with the Toronto Raptors, one of the things that stuck out to me was of how hard he played. Now, he is a bit undersized at his position, being 6'1", but one thing that I love to see with players is how hard they try, defensively and on the offensive end of the floor. I just want to see that they actually care and that they actually play hard. Now, something that doesn't bode well for Malachi Flynn is the recent extension of Deuce McBride. They extended Deuce McBride, I believe it was 3 years. And the only thing I have to say to Malachi is maybe he should try and take that personal, because that kind of gives the signs of like the Knicks not really looking to have you in their future. They're looking at Deuce McBride as being a part of their future. So Malachi, if you want to come to the Knicks and you want to make a significant impact, use that as fuel. Look at that as the Knicks disrespecting you, and try and show the Knicks, fans that you are worthy of being on this team. And like I keep saying, the way to get on the floor with Coach Tibbs is to show him that you're going to take defense seriously. I know this is supposed to be a Malachi Flynn video, but I kind of want to touch upon Coach Tibbs. So there's a there's just a lot of moving pieces right now. There's more trading rumors coming on. DeJounte Murray or Donovan Mitchell. The one thing that I will keep my eye on is actually Coach Tibbs. If Leon Rose and the Knicks organization are making all these moves, they believe that they're in a position to win now. And I believe that they think that Jalen Brunson is that good of a player. And moving forward, if we actually do get a Donovan Mitchell or if we actually do get a DeJounte Murray, one thing I'm going to keep my eye on is Coach Tibbs. I want to see if it's going to be able to adapt to the type of players that we get. Donovan Mitchell and DeJounte Murray, they are all-star caliber players. They have been in all-star games. If you have a starting five of Donovan Mitchell, Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, those three alone, and OG, of course, after the trade. If you have those four players and you can interchange Donovan Mitchell and DeJounte Murray, if you want to flip flop to whatever, the type of talent that Coach Tibbs looks like he's about to acquire, Knicks fans, we should be judging Coach Tibbs harshly because at this point, Leon Rose and the Knicks organization, it looks like they're making all these moves to win now. And if Coach Tibbs can't rise to the occasion, then I think it might be time that we look at Coach Tibbs as being the solution to the Knicks moving forward. And as I bring up the topic of Coach Tibbs and how I'm going to keep my eye on him, I remember a report that Ian Begley came out this past summer that this season is actually the fourth season of his 5-year contract. And I remember the report talking about how the contract discussions between him and the front office, they actually never reached an advanced stage. And when you take that into account, after they made this move for OG, and then all of these rumors between DeJounte Murray and Donovan Mitchell, the front office is definitely waiting to see what they'll get back in trades, and also once they get their players and they establish themselves for the rest of the season, they are 100% gonna have Coach Tibbs in the front of mind to see if this is the coach that they're actually going to depend on to take us to the promised land. And when I say promised land, I'm not necessarily meaning an NBA championship. If a successful Knicks season would be a deep run into the playoffs. Now last season we made it to the second round of the playoffs, which was the first time since I believe the 2012-2013 season, and it's only been the second time since the 99-2000 when they made that NBA Finals run against the San Antonio Spurs. But Coach Tibbs is under pressure, man. He has pressure. It looks like there's gonna be another trade that's probably gonna involve Donovan Mitchell or DeJounte Murray. But either of those two players who are all-star players, the pressure is going to be on Coach Tibbs now. Now it's time for the Knicks to actually move along in the process and actually show everybody that they're going to be a respectable team on here on out. Chris and I, in the videos that we've put out, there have been moments where we've complained about Coach Tibbs' coaching style, where it just seems that he's not really looking to push the pace, especially in today's NBA landscape. Teams are putting up points of 150, 145, and it doesn't seem like the Knicks are in that conversation. So it may be time that we take a look at Coach Tibbs' coaching style, and depending on the talent that we get, of course, like I keep saying, if we get a Donovan Mitchell, if we get a DeJounte Murray to pair up with Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle, and if we don't have a good playoff run, it may be time that we take a look at the coaching of the New York Knicks and we move forward. But as far as Malachi Flynn, I want to say welcome to the Knicks. And as far as Knicks fans, all we want to see our players do is give maximum effort night in and night out. If you're able to do that, the Knicks fans are going to fall in love with you and you're going to become a Knicks favorite. So that's it for today's video, guys. But I want to say thank you for checking it out, and we'll check you on the next one. Peace.